What if tiny changes, so small you barely notice, could transform your entire life? Welcome to Atomic Habits by James Clear, the game-changing guide that reveals how habits shape who we are and how mastering them unlocks unstoppable success. Let's dive deep into the secrets behind lasting change. Chapter 1: Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results. The most powerful transformations start so quietly, you mistake them for nothing. We think success demands massive action, life-changing overhauls, and heroic willpower. We wait for the perfect Monday, the clean slate, the new me. We believe that if we're not making a grand leap, we're standing still. But the truth is, big changes don't come from big moves. They come from tiny, invisible ones. James Clear opens with a haunting truth. Improvement by just 1% each day doesn't feel dramatic, but over time, it compounds into something unrecognizable. Like interest in a bank account, habits pay off exponentially. We are the product of our systems, not our goals. Then he tells us why we fail. We try to change the outcome, not the process. We chase results, not the habits that cause them. That's why motivation fades. That's why resolutions die. That's why your past efforts burned out before they burned bright. And this chapter ends not with strategy, but with awakening. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Chapter 2: How your habits shape your identity, and vice versa. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. We try to act different, but keep thinking the same. We want change, but still see ourselves as lazy, disorganized, or unworthy. We build new habits on the foundation of an old self-image and then wonder why it crumbles. He explains 3 levels of behavior change: outcomes, processes, and identity. Most people start with outcomes. I want to lose weight. A few go deeper to processes. I'm going to the gym every day. But the deepest change starts with, I am someone who doesn't miss workouts. Then James does something brilliant. He flips habit building from effort to identity. Don't force yourself to write. Become a writer. Don't try to save money. Become someone who is financially wise. Your goal isn't to run a marathon. Your goal is to become a runner. The best version of you isn't waiting at the finish line. It's built silently, vote by vote, action by action in the quiet hours when no one's watching. Chapter 3: How to Build Better Habits in 4 Simple Steps. Your life bends not at your goals, but at your cues. Habits aren't magic, they're mechanics, and they follow a code: cue, craving, response, reward. Every time you walk past the kitchen and feel drawn to the cookie jar, cue. Every time stress makes you crave a cigarette, craving. Every time you snap at someone and feel instant relief, response, reward. But most of us never pause to see the loop. We just act, react, spiral. We believe we're lazy, addicted, hopeless. Then James makes it clear, you're not broken. You're just running a script, one that can be rewritten. You can't change a habit you don't understand. Then he hands you the structure. 4 laws, 4 levers, 4 tools of personal transformation. 1. Make it obvious. 2. Make it attractive. 3. Make it easy. 4. Make it satisfying. Habits don't change when you try harder. They change when you understand how they work. Chapter 4: The Man Who Didn't Look Right. Your eyes are always watching, especially when your mind isn't. A man steps onto a train. Something about him feels wrong. A detective watches, feels uneasy, but can't explain why. Then the man pulls a gun. The detective was right, but didn't know how. That moment of instinct is the power of cue recognition. Habits begin with what you notice. And that's not just about vision, it's about attention. Your brain is built to scan, to memorize patterns, to automate decisions. But here's the twist: you can't change what you don't see. James Clear teaches us how to make the invisible visible with a deceptively simple tool, the habit scorecard. Write down everything you do in a day, see it, confront it, then label each habit: positive, negative, or neutral. Only when you become conscious can you become capable. Your life is shaped by the habits you never even meant to choose. Now it's time to choose them. Chapter 5: The Best Way to Start a New Habit. Motivation falls, intention remains. We wait to feel inspired. We wait for the mood, the push, the spark. But winners don't wait, they plan. James introduces implementation intention, a powerful tactic backed by science. Don't say, I'll work out tomorrow. Say, I'll work out at 6 p.m. in my garage after work. Vague plans die in the face of chaos, but precise intentions endure. Then he adds a second weapon, habit stacking. After I brush my teeth, I will write one sentence. After I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. You're not rewriting your life. You're layering one change onto another. You don't need more motivation. You need better structure. Chapter 6, Motivation is Overrated, Environment Often Matters More. You don't rise above your surroundings. You reflect them. We like to believe we have iron will, that we can say no to chocolate while staring at it in the fridge every night. But the truth is brutal. Your environment shapes your behavior more than your discipline does. James explains contextual cues, the silent triggers that drive your habits. Want to read more? Put a book on your pillow. Want to stop checking your phone? Leave it in another room. And it works both ways. Want to break a bad habit? Make it invisible. Want to build a new one? Make it obvious. He shares the legendary story of Laszlo Polgar, who raised his daughters, including Grandmaster Judith Polgar, to be chess champions not through force, but through environmental immersion. Then it clicks. Motivation fades, but your environment waits for you every single day. Change your space. Change your default. You don't just build better habits, you live inside them. Chapter 7, The Secret to Self-Control. You don't resist temptation, you avoid it. We think the strongest people are those who can stare down temptation and say no. But real strength, it's not facing the dragon, it's making sure the dragon never shows up. James Clear dismantles the myth of willpower. Even the most disciplined crumble under the right conditions. The truth? People with great self-control don't use it more, they need it less. Why? Because they don't expose themselves to temptation in the first place. Then comes the revelation. Self-control is not a strategy, it's a shield. Change your surroundings. Eliminate the cue. Don't fight the fire, remove the match. Clear points out that the same brain that forms habits is designed to be efficient, not heroic. The less temptation you feel, the more energy you have for what matters. Discipline isn't about being stronger, it's about being smarter. Chapter 8, How to Make a Habit Irresistible. The brain doesn't crave habits, it craves rewards disguised as habits. Why do you scroll endlessly through your phone? Why do you reach for chocolate late at night? Because it feels good before you even touch it. This chapter dives deep into the science of dopamine. You don't act for pleasure, you act for anticipation. And James teaches you how to flip that power in your favor. Enter temptation bundling. Pair something you want to do with something you should do. Watch Netflix only while riding your stationary bike. Sip your favorite coffee only while writing. You're not removing the craving, you're redirecting it. Then he pulls wisdom from Silicon Valley engineers, addictive food labs, and behavioral economics. Make your good habits attractive and bad ones boring. Your brain is always negotiating. Now you know how to tip the scale. Chapter 9, The Role of Family and Friends in Shaping Your Habits. You become what your tribe praises or punishes. We say we're individuals, independent thinkers, but we mirror what surrounds us, our friends, our parents, our coworkers. James unpacks 3 social groups that shape us. The close, family, friends. The many, society, culture. The powerful, leaders, role models. We imitate to belong. We align to survive. Then comes the hard truth. If your environment praises what you're trying to escape, you'll always be at war with yourself. Want a drinking, but all your friends meet at the bar? Want to read more, but your partner mocks your self-help obsession? It won't work. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. Then he offers the fix. Join a group where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. Surround yourself with the version of you want to become. We don't change in isolation. We evolve in connection. Chapter 10, How to Find and Fix the Causes of Your Bad Habits. Every behavior is a solution to a problem your mind hasn't named yet. We label our habits as bad, procrastination, overeating, doom scrolling. But what if those aren't flaws, but answers? To the wrong questions, James reveals a deeper truth. Every bad habit is an attempt to solve a problem. Stress, boredom, insecurity, pain. You don't scroll for fun. You scroll to escape. You don't smoke for flavor. You smoke to calm something unsettled. Then he asks the pivotal question, what is this habit doing for you? Once you understand the need beneath the habit, you stop fighting the surface. You can't replace smoking until you find a better way to soothe stress. You can't stop yelling until you learn to regulate emotion. This chapter shifts blame into clarity. You are not a mess of broken decisions. You are a builder using the wrong tools, until now. Chapter 11. Walk slowly but never backward. Mastery begins not with explosion but repetition. Everyone wants the big leap, the breakthrough, the transformation. But James reminds us, greatness lives in boredom. True masters, they show up even when they're tired, when it's raining, when the motivation is gone, because they don't chase excitement, they follow consistency. The most powerful force in habit building is not intensity, it's continuity. He introduces a principle called the Goldilocks rule. Tasks must be just hard enough to stay interesting, but not so hard that you give up. It's a delicate balance, challenging yet achievable. Then comes a sobering truth. The greatest threat to progress is not failure, it's boredom. Most people quit not because it's too hard, but because it stops feeling new. You don't need to love the process. You need to stop hating repetition. Chapter 12, The Law of Least Effort. The easier it is, the more likely you'll do it. The harder it is, the more you'll lie to yourself. We blame laziness. We beat ourselves up for not trying harder. But the brain, it's designed to conserve energy, not waste it. James dives into the path of least resistance, why we binge shows instead of reading, why we order takeout instead of cooking. The solution? Don't fight the current. Redirect it. Then he introduces environment design again on steroids. Want to eat healthy? Prep meals in advance. Want to write daily? Keep your notebook open on your desk. Want to work out? Sleep in your gym clothes. Every friction matters. The more steps between you and the bad habit, the weaker it gets. The fewer steps between you and the good one, the stronger it becomes. Change doesn't demand willpower. It demands design. Chapter 13. How to stop procrastinating by using the 2-minute rule. Start small, then grow without stopping. We often get stuck waiting for the right moment, the perfect mood, or massive motivation. But what if all it took was 2 minutes? James introduces a deceptively simple idea. When starting a new habit, make it so easy that it can't be avoided. Want to read? Read 1 page. Want to meditate? Meditate for 2 minutes. Want to exercise? Put on your sneakers. This small start creates momentum. Then, momentum leads to progress. He shows how this counters the paralysis of perfectionism and the trap of overwhelm. Because starting is often the hardest part. Once you start, inertia carries you forward. But then he reveals the magic. 2 minutes isn't just a trick. It's a commitment to showing up. You're not perfecting the habit. You're building the habit of building habits. Chapter 14. How to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. Control your cues. Control your habits. Clear pushes deeper into the power of environment. The question isn't willpower. It's what's around you. He explains how to design your physical space so good habits are automatic and bad habits impossible. Want to stop watching TV? Remove the batteries from the remote. Want to stop snacking? Don't buy chips. It's the subtle, often invisible setup that rules your behavior. James introduces the idea of choice architecture, structuring your environment to make the right decision the default decision. Then he explores habit contracts, using social accountability and public commitments to lock in progress. The battle of habits is fought not in moments of weakness, but in the daily design of your life. Chapter 15. The Cardinal Rule of Behavior Change. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. At the heart of habit formation lies this timeless truth. If a behavior feels good, it sticks. If it feels bad, it fades. James illustrates this through studies, stories, and neuroscience. He warns, rewards must be immediate. The distant payoff doesn't motivate. Your brain craves instant feedback. Then he teaches how to hack this. Make habits satisfying now. Use habit trackers, streaks, small celebrations. You don't need a trophy. You need proof that your efforts matter. He closes with a promise. If you can find joy in the process, you'll never stop. Chapter 16. How to stick with good habits every day. Consistency doesn't require perfection. We often believe habits fail because we're weak or undisciplined, but the real enemy is missing once and turning it into missing forever. James reveals a simple yet powerful idea: never miss twice. One slip doesn't break the chain, two does. He introduces the habit tracker, not just a tool, but a symbol of progress and commitment. Crossing off each day fuels motivation more than we realize. Then he teaches how to plan for failure, because it's inevitable. What matters is your response. Bounce back quickly, get up, try again. Habits are like a sine wave, not a straight line. Chapter 17: How an accountability partner can change everything. When you share your goals, you add a new layer of responsibility. We're wired for social connection, and that connection can be the key to change. James explores how accountability partners, coaches, or even online communities can drastically improve habit success. Because now, it's not just you watching yourself, it's others. He shares stories of people who stayed consistent because they didn't want to let someone else down. The stakes shift from internal pressure to external commitment. Then he discusses the power of public declarations and social contracts to make habits stick. Change becomes contagious and unstoppable when shared. Chapter 18: The Truth About Talent: When Genes Matter and When They Don't. Your habits are not limited by your genes, but they are influenced by them. We often use genetics as an excuse or a scapegoat, but the truth is nuanced. James explains that genetics set boundaries and preferences, but don't dictate outcomes. You're unlikely to become a world-class sprinter if you hate running, but you can improve vastly in any area by aligning habits with your natural inclinations. He gives examples of how aligning habits with personality and strengths unlocks better results and greater satisfaction. Then he reveals how to find your zone of optimal performance, where your habits feel natural and sustainable. Your genes don't write your story. They're just one character in the plot. Chapter 19: The Goldilocks Rule: How to Stay Motivated in Life and Work. Humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. We often feel stuck, bored, or overwhelmed by our routines. James explains that staying motivated means keeping your challenges balanced. Never too hard, never too easy. The Goldilocks rule encourages you to find the sweet spot where tasks push you just enough to grow, but not enough to cause burnout. He illustrates how this principle applies beyond habits to careers, relationships, and creativity. The secret to lifelong motivation is mastering the art of just right. Chapter 20: The Downside of Creating Good Habits. Good habits can become prisons if we're not careful. Not every habit leads to freedom. Some become chains. James warns that habits, once automated, can create tunnel vision, making us rigid and resistant to change. He explores how over-reliance on habits can cause complacency, lost creativity, or burnout. Then he encourages building flexibility into your systems, allowing room for adaptation and growth. Good habits empower, but only when paired with awareness. Chapter 21: How to Review Your Habits and Make Adjustments. Reflection transforms action into insight. To grow, you must look back before moving forward. James shows how regularly reviewing your habits uncovers hidden barriers and new opportunities. He offers practical advice on habit journaling, tracking progress, and pivoting strategies when needed. Review isn't judgment, it's curiosity. It's the art of becoming your own coach. With clear insight, your next steps become deliberate rather than random. Chapter 22: The Secret to Results That Last. True change requires a shift in identity. Habits don't just shape your actions, they shape your self-image. James reveals that the deepest level of change comes when your habits are tied to who you believe you are. Instead of "I want to run," say "I am a runner." Instead of "I want to read more," say "I am a reader." This identity-based habit formation transforms behavior from a chore into a statement of self. The real power isn't in what you do, but in who you become. Chapter 23: How to Keep Your Habits on Track When Life Gets Hard. Life isn't perfect, but your habits can be. Obstacles, distractions, stress, they all threaten progress. James teaches how to build resilience by planning for setbacks and creating habits that survive disruption. He introduces strategies like habit contracts, accountability, and environment tweaks to protect your routines. Then he emphasizes kindness toward yourself, allowing for imperfection without losing momentum. The goal is progress, not perfection. Chapter 24, The Anatomy of a Habit, How to Build Better Habits in 4 Simple Steps. Cue, craving, response, reward. James closes by revisiting the fundamental framework of habits. Every habit follows this loop: an invitation, a desire, an action, and a payoff. By mastering each step, you can redesign your habits at the source, make cues obvious, cravings attractive, responses easy, and rewards satisfying. This simple but profound cycle empowers you to build lasting change. Your habits don't just happen, you create them, one small choice at a time. Remember, real transformation isn't about giant leaps. It's about tiny habits, repeated day after day. If this video helped you unlock a new way to think about change, don't miss out on more insights like this. Hit that subscribe button, join the journey, and let's build better habits together. Your next breakthrough is just one click away.